Hello YouTube and welcome to a special Doctor Who video. As it's the 10th anniversary of the revived series this year, I've decided to go back and take a look at the character options line of figures that has pretty much run alongside the series since its revival. I'm going to be taking a look at my top 10 Doctor Who figures ranging from the new series and also the classic series. So I hope you enjoyed the video and please in the comments share below your favourite top 10 figures and I'd be very interested to hear them. Now, number 10 in countdowns is always quite a weird one because it's the last one on the list, but even though it's a really good one that you like, along with all of the other figures, because all of the ones in this countdown are ones that all deserve the number one place, because hey, there's over 300 of these figures, so every single one in this one deserves to be where it is, and I can guarantee there's more in the line that I have that I would put in my top 10 as well. But this one is one that I find quite unusual, because I just wanted to put this one in the list no matter what, because I really like this design, and it is the Invasion Cybermen. Now, this figure was released about 3 times. At first, it was released in the Age of Steel 4 collector set, which was basically single figures. There was 4 of them, and you could collect them up to create the Tomb Cyberman. Now, I believe that this was released a few months after the original Wave 1 of classic figures, so this was in fact the first wave of initial classic Cybermen released. It was released alongside the original Cyberman, the Tomb Cyberman, and also the Next Doctor Cyber Leader. So yeah, there was quite a range of Cybermen in this, and most notably not the Earthshock Cyberman, which could probably be the most iconic design of Cyberman, as it has been in the most amount of stories. But yeah, this one I like just because of the design. I think it is really good, and just the amount of detail on the figure itself is great, but I also like this design in the actual show. Shame that it only appeared once, because personally it's possibly one of my favourite designs, if not my favourite. Now, I don't know what it is about this design, I just really like it. Some of you will notice that it is rather similar to the Revenge Cybermen, I think. And I also like the way that on the actual figure they've included clay pieces, as you can see on the gun there, then also on the computer bank down here. I don't know what it is about Cybermen, but I think that in figure form they work really well. I think the basic silver design works really well in mould, even the 3.75 Cybermen, which will be shock for me to say. But yeah, I think that those figures all work really well. On this particular design, I like the way that it is pretty human. Although the original Cyberman was probably the most human of them all, I do like the way that some of the basic designs on this, probably down to the budget of the actual show, but I like the way that on here we actually have a zipper and things that goes down, and I really like the way that we also have creasing, which sort of shows the actual body underneath. And then I also like the addition of the actual gloves. I think that that is rather human as well, and once again shows that there was in fact something under here, which sort of is something that the new series Cybermen miss out on. So first we had a Cyberman, now we have a Dalek. In 9th place we have the Remembrance of the Daleks Dalek. Now this was the original version, which yes, the second variant in the actual Remembrance of the Daleks collector set is in fact more of the realistic one to the actual show. But I like this one more. I do in fact have the other one. In fact, I can just take it off the shelf now to show you. So there's proof that I have the other one. Once again, this might be down to the actual show and the design of the actual Daleks. This is my favourite design of Dalek. I really do like the white Imperial design of Dalek. Over the Revelation one as well, if they are to redesign any of the new series Daleks to look like this, I would love the white and gold ones to come back. I think they just work really well. But moving on to the actual figure itself, obviously there aren't really many changes compared to this one and all of the other classic Daleks in the line, but I think there's just something about this one. If you are a collector of the classic line, you will know that this Dalek and the Renegade Dalek from the Remembrance of the Dalek story are in fact the only Daleks in the whole history of the character options line to have this design of slat. As you can see, we have the white and gold design, a rather simple design of slat with not really that much detailing on. I just love the cream design on this Dalek as well. The little is in fact the only Dalek to have this design of light bulb, because they were actually unique to this Dalek. I always liked this one because it's just so nice. It's just a really great design. What else can I say? Yep, that's right. In 8th place, we have the actual second part to the Dalek that I've just reviewed. If you know the classic line, this 7th Doctor figure was released with the Imperial Dalek that I've just been taking a look at, which technically means that this is probably one of my favourites from the whole line that have ever been made. It is a great set, and once again, one of the ones that is actually quite thought after. Much like the other 7th Doctor's release, this one is my favourite, but even though it has inaccuracies, I just think that it looks great. I would also like to point out that I do really like the brown coat version of this, but once again, down to the actual show, so I think that this one worked a little bit better in my personal opinion. Taking a closer look at the figure, I just think that this has been replicated really nicely from the on-screen costume. Although there is inaccuracies such as the jumper, I don't really mind too much. I'm not really that bothered. I think that it looks like what it's meant to be. It may be nice for it to be changed over time, but unfortunately it wasn't due to cost reasons. But yeah, it is still a really nice design. I just really like the way that the replication of the patterning on the scarf has been done really, really well. Obviously there, going around the collar and things, and the addition of the chain as well, that then leads on to the back with all the creasing and things, and all of the dirt marks that have been added as well. I just think it looks really, really well, and the weathering that has been given to the costume. Some people aren't so iffy on the head. If you do know, it is in fact removable, as you can see, so you can actually replace it with the Ghostlight head, which was in the 11 Doctors collector set, which is a great feature. It may be nice to actually have this solemn hatted head, which has been quite fought after for quite a while, and most people have now gave up and just made their own versions. But yeah, for the first 7th Doctor released, I think that this figure was very, very anticipated, as it was final classic Doctors to be released, and a very welcome one to the collection. And then he also comes with his umbrella, which is really, really nice. I can actually remember people saying on a forum that this figure was in fact going to come with an umbrella that actually works, which I can't believe I actually believe that. And to be fair, the whole of this story, all of the figures that have been released, this is in fact the classic story with the most figures released from this story, and every single one is absolutely brilliant. This is only a small fraction of what they've released. They've released Ace, they've released Exploded Dalek, they've released also the Renegade ones, the Special Weapons Dalek. It is an absolute great story for figures, and all of them are absolutely brilliant. Now this isn't cheating because it's my countdown and I can make the rules for this, but yeah, in 7th place we have all of the Clockwork Robots. Now all of these are absolutely brilliant. If you watched my Figures That Started It All video, celebration of the 10th anniversary of the revived series, you would have probably been able to guess that these might have been in here somewhere. These are in fact my first new series figures in this countdown, and I do promise there will be more, although there is actually more classic figures in this countdown than new series, I will say that now. But yeah, these figures are absolutely brilliant. The main one at the front is the black one. Now that was in fact my first ever figure that I got from the Clockwork line, and I can just remember absolutely loving this figure. From the detailing on the head there, I just love the masking and all the different French Revolution style clothing and all the party stuff. It just looks really, really quite modern and quite rich, I think, and it does look really, really nice. I just love the idea of this figure. Just to make it even better, what I love is if you take off the hat, you can actually reveal underneath the little clockwork thing. This is an occurrence for all of the figures in the Clockwork Robot line, which is why I couldn't really just choose one. Then taking a look at the blue one, I believe that this is probably the most common out of all three, but I do really like this one. I like the idea of the blue and things. I think it looks great and all the different detailing and things. I do really like the way as well that this one is a new sculpt compared to the other one over here. I really do like that, as it once again shows the bit of variety. And then we have the final one released. Now this is probably arguably the rarest one from the Gelf Wave, the Purple Clockwork Man. And it's a really nice figure actually. I really do like this one. It's nice and purple. It's the same sculpt as the blue one, but it is great. Once again, the same detailing on the face. They're just redone, but they have actually added different paint apps and things. I do love these figures. Quite a while ago, there was in fact like this picture that was leaked with a lot of figures on that were already released, but a few of them dotted in there were ones that haven't actually been released and still haven't to this day. These include the Terror of the Zygon's 4th Doctor, I believe a Vok robot with a knife sort of stuck in his head, and there's all sorts in there. But interestingly, one of them was in fact a Clockwork Woman from the story. I believe it was the sort of pinky style cream dress. Now that would have been lovely to be released. I don't know what it is about these figures that I love so much, but it is actually my first ever story of Doctor Who, so once again it might be something like the sentimental value of these figures. But overall I do really like them, and I know that there are actually quite a popular one in people's countdowns. At number 6, it's one of the most recent 5-inch figures to be released, and technically one of the last ones if the line carries on how it's going. It is the War Doctor. Now this one was sort of needed to complete the line of Doctors in the 5-inch scale. It's then also been adapted to have the upcoming 12th Doctor figures that are coming out in the Curator as well. But yeah, this figure is really, really nice. First off, it probably has one of the best accessories in the whole Doctor Who line's history. This is the moment, obviously, and it looks absolutely brilliant. Each individual side is patterned differently. It looks absolutely brilliant. Much like how it does in the actual story, it is a great little design. I do really like this. I mean, just look at that, all the different ridges and things. It's 3D. War Doctor itself, I just love the amount of detail on this figure. I think it might have been the hype from the 50th anniversary that sort of ranked this up a little bit. But yeah, I do love this figure because it does have a ton of detail. And once again, it's a great example of how character options, if they actually put their mind to it, can actually create decent figures. Because if you compare the lightness on this figure compared to, say, a Series 6 figure, you can just see the amount of detail that has been added to this sculpt. I do believe that Underground Toys had quite a big input on this figure, and not just character options, which is probably the reason why this figure looks absolutely brilliant, because they're also the people that make the classic figures, as in the new series figures, I believe, don't have much of the input from Underground Toys, which probably hints to why that their likenesses and detail will decrease a little bit. But yeah, and a bit of facting for you, I believe that this figure is actually the fastest selling retail figure in character options history. I do believe, because it actually went out of stock very, very quickly, and then it went for absolutely mad prices on eBay, and it does actually seem to be back in stock as filming this. Midway at number 5, we have the 2 Ace figures. Now, once again, this is not cheating, because they are technically the exact same figure, just with some minor little changes. Now, to this day, whilst filming, this Silver Nemesis version is in fact the most recent classic figure that we have in the collection, even though it's now going on near enough a year old, which is a scary thought and sort of shows that the classic line is dying. But hey, on a lighter note, this actually shows that how accessories can in fact change your opinion on a figure, because this probably wouldn't be as high up if it wasn't for the accessories. In fact, not wouldn't be, it definitely wouldn't be. But the main figure that I am going to focus on is the Remembrance version. Now, I love this figure. Just sheer detailing on the jacket, they're just all little badges and things. I'm still surprised that are actually really, really accurate, because I would have thought that they would have needed to take them off for copyright reasons. But yeah, even we have a little Blue Peter one up there. This is great, this figure. Just comparing that to the Silver Nemesis version, as you can see, we actually have a few adaptations there. We even have the whirly thing. I believe that is from the Greatest Show in the Galaxy, a little badge, which is nice the way that they've actually adapted the costume. Once again, shows a bit of care. The reasons that I love this figure is the accessories. Now, this is the backpack. Now, if you just take off the side of the backpack, you can physically get her Nitro 9. There we go, there's the little Nitro 9 sacks. Then we can pop them in there. Get a nicely detailed back, place it through the handle, in there, and then click it into place. Fasten on that, click it into place. And there we have Ace's rucksack, the backpack sticking out. And better still, she can actually wear it. I just love that. Then taking a look at the Silver Nemesis version. Now, if you're wondering, the jacket can in fact be removed from a Remembrance one to look like this, just with the slightly different design on. Once again, I do believe that this design has actually been tweaked on the shirt sculpt, as you can see. But yeah, I just love the way that you can do that. It definitely adds a different idea to the figure. I kind of like that they released it more than once, because now I can have 2 without needing to buy it twice. But yeah, the one thing that lets this figure down is the likeness. On both of them, I don't think it really gets Sophie Aldred. And also on the Silver Nemesis one, we had the little hi-fi thing. I just love this figure. I think that overall the accessories definitely make this figure rather high up in my ranking. Now at number 4 we have the original Flight Control TARDIS. Now, this is of the original and unearthly child police box as used by the first Doctor. Now, I love all of the Flight Control TARDISes that have all of the light motions and things, including the 80s one. Unfortunately, I do not have the 4th Doctor one, and it is actually one of the only things that I need to complete my figure collection, unfortunately. But yeah, this police box is absolutely brilliant. I just love the design of this one. Even though the 10th Doctor one has a lot of features, I have a feeling that the new Toys R Us 12th Doctor one coming very, very soon may in fact place this one. But yeah, this figure is really, really nice. Just love the detailing on the box. I love the way that the windows are very, very white. This is in fact based off the original police boxes. I do believe there was a few differences compared to this one and the original one in the pilot episode. But yeah, I just love the whiting around the windows. I love the white frame there. I just love this, even though it is slightly inaccurate, as if we just slide back there. I do believe the roof is meant to be a lot different, and it is a little bit inaccurate compared to the original Hartnell box. But I just love this sculpt, and I think it is actually a really nice replica. I like the way that they've even included sort of some stains at the bottom there, some weathering just to make it look like it's been really battered, because it was in a junkyard for quite a while. We in fact have the lamp at the top, which is a little bit dusty as well, and along with the rest of the roof, which will move from that because it looks very, very dusty, doesn't it? But yeah, and even though this doesn't in fact have an interior, because that is in fact accurate to how the series was. I just love both this one and the 80s TARDIS. I think they worked really, really well, and it is just a great little design, isn't it? Now going into the top 3, we have the San Diego Comic-Con First Doctor of Source Commander Dalek from the Dalek Invasion of Earth, Black and White and Colour Edition, which no, I'm not cheating, but yeah, this is in fact 4 figures, because once again they are exactly the same sculpt, just with the different paint application. Now as you can see, I do luckily have both of them. The colour one was in fact I did get in 2009 from the actual my local Forbidden Planet store, and then the black and white one is in fact boxed, never been opened, and I got this from eBay now a few years ago, I believe maybe in 2013, but I absolutely love both of these figures. I think they're absolutely amazing. I just love the amount of detail on them, and I think to the point of when buying these, I think that these might have been my biggest amount of money spent on one standalone product from the figure line in general. I just love them. I think the amount of detail on them is great. Taking a look at the First Doctor, I just love the way this figure looks. I think it's great, and I think that this figure is by far superior to the one as seen in the 11 Doctors collector set. I think that just the detailing seems to be a little bit better on this figure, and I think the 11 Doctors one seems to be a little bit lazy, especially on the face. I think that this one looks absolutely brilliant. And then we have the Source Commander Dalek. Once again, I love this sculpt. I believe that this was the first ever time we've seen a 60s Dalek with the big stand. We have the big dish at the back there. I just love the colour scheme on this Dalek. I think that it's really, really nice. Obviously, there's the other version of this, which is the half-painted version, as seen in the Dalek collector set. Let's face it, the Daleks have never been more scary than they have been in black and white. And then we have the black and white editions. Now, I've needed to get the camera physically and hold it for this bit because of the awkward sun, but just look at the way that this figure is. Just look at the amount of detail on the face there. It just looks brilliant. The black and white has been really brought out well on this. I would love to get another version of this figure to actually open and physically have out the box, but I just think the detail on this figure looks absolutely amazing. Just look at the detail on that head. Then we have the Source Commander Dalek. Once again, not really too much difference, but I just love the way that it's been done. I think that the black and white idea really did work well. I would love to see maybe the An Unearthly Child figure. It's already been sculpted, so it just would need different paint application, but I think that that would work really, really nicely, as I think it is a really nice effect. But yeah, I love this set. Now at number 2, we... You even fell over then, didn't you? Get lost. Now, we all know my countdown wouldn't be complete without Colin Baker. Now, unfortunately, this time he's not at number 1, because we can't say that, but Colin is, of course, at number 1 in my Doctor's list. But yeah, Colin Baker from Real Time. Now, this once again is actually a San Diego Comic-Con release, which was released alongside the First Doctor and Source Commander Dalek. I absolutely love this design from the Doctor. I think this is a brilliant design. It would have been so much better if this was the actual one in the show, but I love the figure as well. This figure was, in fact, one of my favourites from the very moment that I got it. The overall design of this figure is exactly the same to that of the standard version of Colin Baker, but just painted blue. Now, as you can see, all of the detailing of the multicoloured stuff has been taken away. It is a very simple repaint, which is what I love about this figure. I do believe that paint apps on the hair, though, were slightly changed, which is nice, but as you can see, you have the blue there, the dark blues on the pockets and things. Just giving a close-up there of the costume, the blue cravat. I love the gold chains, and especially I love the golden cat badge. I just love this figure. Detailing on the face, I think that this looks exactly like Colin Baker. If you don't know, this design was in fact of Colin Baker from the 2002 audio Real Time, which I do believe it was sort of animated for the BBC i sort of thing. So it's not the bestest of animation, but it is a really great adventure, and I would highly recommend checking it out. I do believe that it's on YouTube. If it's not on YouTube, it should actually get released on DVD, because it is actually one of the only ones to not be released on DVD, and Screams of the Shalka was, so this should be as well. I think that it's an absolutely great design, along with all of the Colin Baker figures. Even though Colin is my favourite Doctor, I'm not generally being biased here. I actually think the Colin Baker figure is a great design. I think that they've got his costume, although it's very complicated, quite well on the other variants of Colin as well. So yeah, overall, at number 2, we have the real-time Colin Baker. And now my number 1 figure of all time is, of course, the 3.75 Green Coat 11th Doctor. Now, this figure is absolutely amazing. It captures exactly what the costume was from Series 6, and it's definitely not the Series B one, just repainted. Shade detailing on this figure alone, as you can see, the paint on the head makes it look exactly like Matt Smith, and the costume is brilliant. The green on the coat there, it's definitely not the Series B one. It's just it's a brilliant figure, this. I can almost sense myself just absolutely loving this figure for the rest of eternity. So yeah, moving on to the next figure. Now, the real number one is the Time of the Doctor 11th Doctor figure with handles, 12th Doctor head, older 11th Doctor head, and several different changing body parts. Now, this was, in fact, the last 5-inch figure that we've seen released up until now. There is, in fact, an entirely new sculpt. Now, I love this figure. It was actually announced around now, actually, funny enough, as well. So, yeah, it is a great figure. It has tons of different things with it. Obviously, handles is great, and it really does show, if Character Options put their mind to things, the great figures that they can produce. Hopefully, we're going to see the same thing with the Curator Doctor figure, less so with the 12th Doctor figures, as I do believe that this head, unfortunately, from what I've seen, I actually think that this head looks a little bit more like Capaldi, so I am really hoping that the new upcoming 12th Doctor does have the interchangeable head. But this figure is amazing. I think that the different changing body parts, just down to the little changing things here of the different bow tie pieces, I think that that works really well. And if you remember my review of this set, you could probably remember how happy I was when I originally bought this. And then we also have this head as well, which is absolutely great. I just think the amount of detail on this is brilliant as well. I just think that this set is absolutely amazing. And if you could buy this, I would recommend it, because it's 30 quid, which, yes, is expensive for one figure, and considering on the website it does make it look like you in fact get 2 figures for £30, it is a little bit misleading, but I would recommend this, as the box is great as well, and I would display this in the box, but I would think that it does look better on display with my other ones. But yeah, overall, this is the number one figure in my collection. But yeah, overall, it is actually very hard to come up with a top 10, so I did actually just want to end this video with some other figures, just giving you a quick overview of ones that I would really recommend, and some of them did in fact just miss out on that chance in the top 10, including the Regeneration 5th Doctor. I really do like that one. That was in my top 10 for absolutely years, but the new releases such as the War Doctor and things knocked that out of place. The Clara figure is one of those ones as well. The Dalek Alpha is one that I really like, and Davros was one in my top 10 for quite a while also. All the different variations of Davros are great, and also Magnus Greel and Mr. Sin, all of them are great. Quite a lot of figures are brilliant in this collection, but unfortunately I could only pick 10. But yeah, overall, if you were to pick any other figures, I would highly recommend the ones that are on screen now, because they are great figures. So that's that. It's been a bit different to normal, but I've been wanting to make this video for a while, and especially because the classic line of figures and new series ones seems to be dying down now, I think that this was pretty much quite a good time to do this, because here, it's near enough the end of this line now, unfortunately. But yeah, if you've been collecting these figures for quite a few years, why not tell me below what your favourite 10 figures are, or maybe just leave some recommendations, and maybe some people who are not experienced in the line can go and buy some. How about that? Some of them are cheap on eBay, some other ones though can range to be quite expensive, so maybe leave down below your recommendations, or maybe even your top 10. Did you agree with me, disagree? I'll be quite interested to know, and maybe we can come up with an average or something. So yeah, thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please do give it a big like, and please subscribe if you're not already. If you have any questions, please do leave them below, and I'll be sure to answer them at some point in the near future. Thanks again for watching, and I shall see you all next time. So yeah, thanks for watching, and bye for now.